Hello everyone, it's another Black Conservative. I'm Ryan Bowling. Thank you all for joining me. What I want to talk about in this video is something very inspirational, especially with all this craziness going on in our world today. And it's in reference to this pastor, I believe in Missouri, who's up preaching, congregation praising God. God is just moving, having his way. A group of young men come in. The pastor, who's a former police officer, notices their demeanor, and he notices some waistbands they had on, and automatically knew that their intentions was not good. So they're here having service, right? They're about to have service, and stuff started going on, and you know what's about to happen next. He keeps preaching, but he knows that these young men are coming in here with ill intent, and I left the article in the description box below. You guys can read that on your own because it's very inspirational. It's very encouraging, really, honestly, for me being a Christian myself, and hopefully, prayerfully, for anyone else who's watching this video that may be a Christian. But what he decides to do, and I'm summarizing it, what he decides to do is he and a few of his staff decide to pray for these young men that came in the congregation with ill intent. Incredible, absolutely incredible at what took place in this congregation. Things could have ended up a whole lot worse. Thankfully, number one, he was a former police officer. But also, we all know that, what was it, a few years ago, a young man comes inside the church, guns down at least 20 people. Now, here is the dilemma that a lot of people on the left tend to say. And I've read about this and I've heard them say things like this. You Christians are always praying about this and praying about that. If God is so real, woo, 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 how come he didn't protect these people? What these liberals who don't believe in God don't understand, prayer, number one, prayer is not some magical formula that you do in order to keep from being hurt. Prayer is designed to give you strength while you're in the trouble. It's not just about praying and asking God for things and he automatically give you stuff. That's what the devil do. Now I know this is, we talk about politics, but I talk about all kinds of things on this channel. Y'all know. It's in addition to spiritual things, me being a minister. Prayer is not the wherewithal that you just get down and you pray and all of a sudden something magically happens and you get protected. Throughout Christian history, Christians have suffered all kinds of persecution. Anybody that knows anything about Christian history knows that that's the fact. So this incident that happened here and incidents that happened in the past where people have come into church and have gunned down people in the church and killed people, as I mentioned earlier, does not mean God is not real, does not mean God is not in the congregation. This is a part of being Christians. Jesus said himself, in this world you shall have tribulation, but guess what? There's good news. He says, be of good cheer, I've overcome the world. So persecution does not, prayer does not exempt you from persecution. Being a Christian does not exempt you from persecution or exempt you from troubles. You're going to get that everywhere you go. So I wanted to bring that out because people, particularly liberals, who a lot of times don't believe in God, or at least they're agnostic, have this perception about Christians and have this perception, this misperception rather, and misperception about Christians and misperception about churches and people coming into the church and shooting people or robbing people. That doesn't necessarily mean the presence of God is not there or God is not with them people. It's just part of being a Christian. It's part of living in a sin-cursed world. That's what that is. But here, I'm glad that I'm glad that this pastor was a former police officer. So he recognized the elements of someone coming in to do bodily harm. He recognized it right away. Things could have been a whole lot worse. He could have started getting scared, ducking and hiding. But as a man of God, he stood his ground and kept the people, read the article, you'll find out, and kept the people from getting nervous. In fact, in the article, it states that instead of him getting nervous, instead of him getting upset, he essentially went on with the service and told the men next to him to make sure that you have a visual on these young men that came in so that they have evidence. Being a former police officer, he knew what to do. And then he had certain individuals and parishioners in the church building escort the young people, the young children, to some safe place. without keeping, and you'll see the picture of it on the article. He had certain individuals in the church pray over these young men. These young men could have went off, start shooting everybody. But this shows you the power, the way I see it, the power of prayer and the power of God. God can shut down anything. He can humble anyone. He's coming in with a gun ready to kill. He can stop him. He can stop it automatically. Now somebody may ask, well, why come he didn't stop the other ones when it happened? God, we don't know the ways of God. God's ways are infinite. Ours are not. The Bible says in the book of Isaiah, the 50th chapter, God's ways are not our ways and his thoughts are not our thoughts. God is infinite in knowledge. We will never fully understand why he permits certain things in certain areas and why he protects in certain other areas. We will never know that. But we can know that he's in absolute sovereign control of whatever happens. And thankfully in this instance, God receives the glory either way it go. But I'm thankful that this man, this pastor who was a former police officer, had the skill set to be able to see this type of stuff and prevent a mass shooting. Because the article states they came in and robbed the place, but it could have been a mass shooting, you know. But I wanted to share that video with you guys because I see that as good news. I see that as good news. I see that as a possible leading to a revival in this country. I mean, I hate to say it this way. I mean, what do you mean? I'm not going to say I hate it, because being a minister, that's what I talk about. But look, I believe that the only thing that's going to save America is God. Is God. That's the only thing that's going to save America. Not whether or not we get a Republican in office, not whether or not we get a moderate Democrat in office. That may be part of it. That may ease up some of this craziness we're going through. But when it all looks down to it, we told God we don't need him. We took him out of the school. We took him out of the White House. We took him out of movies. We took him out of music. We took him out of art. We took him out of everything. And now look at the hell we're going through. But I believe that before things get so bad, God is going to bring a revival in this country. He's going to bring a mighty revival. Just because there's darkness doesn't mean God doesn't move. Sometimes the greatest times of God's movement is when we are in our darkest times. That's when God seems to move the most, when the country is in its darkest. It doesn't matter what policies Biden put forth, what policies these far leftists put forth, or whatever they push, whatever these activists and radical communist activists are trying to push. God is the one ultimately in control. And in the midst of what they're trying to push, God can send a revival and save all of those people. Just saying, anything's possible with God. Anything's possible. So I'm glad that this happened, and I wanted to share that with you guys because so much negativity is going on in our country. We know that. We know so much negativity going on. Sometimes, a lot of people probably giving up hope right now under the Biden administration. A lot of people probably giving up hope, or they probably just settle in and say, what it is, we might as well accept it. No, you don't have to accept certain things. You can vote this kind of person out of office. His term is almost up. I think he got one more year, and then his term is almost up. We are the determiners. We are the ones that determine whether or not he's going to get back in office. I don't care how much money they pay him, how much they pay his campaign. It's the voters that ultimately put him back in office. So that's part of the part we play. We as American citizens play that part. And let's keep playing that part. Let's keep doing that part. Those of us, and you look, let me tell you something in the end of the video. Look, at the end of the day, we're all Americans. Whether we be conservative, whether we be Democrat, we're all American. At the end of the day. And at the end of the day, we ought to be able to come together on a common basis and say, hey, I don't approve of this and I approve of that. Because when it comes down to it, that's really what it's all about. Because let's face it, and I said this in previous videos, there are too many factions out there that are trying their best to keep us against each other. The Marxists that have infiltrated our institutions are trying their best to keep us divided. That is their goal, is division. The Marxist goal is not unity, it's division. It was then and it always will be. And if we're not able to detect that and not able to see that they're the ones that's creating this animosity among groups and creating this hatred among racial groups and ethnic groups and subcultures, and they're the ones creating all this animosity against, if we don't see this and catch it soon, we will destroy ourselves and we will consume and devour each other. And they'll be sitting at the top of the pyramid, gloating and laughing and saying, okay, it's time for us now to come down and introduce socialism, which will eventually lead to communism if we don't wake up. But I pray and hope that God sends a revival in this country before that happens. And I personally believe he will do so. So I just wanted to share that video with you guys. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all, and see you again.